Oh yeah, before that, let's take a look at the AV. Sorry, we have an AV by our partners. Can we have that, please?
Hybrid is a global full-stack programmatic advertising ecosystem. Hybrid platform. Customized programmatic solutions. Vox. Contextual advertising solution with a multi-format approach. Hybe. In-house programmatic solution for mobile app developers. AI-powered. Human-guided. Get a personalized quotation.
AI vision advertising platform Vox offers eye-catching ads that are embedded into images and article content. Bright formats have high visibility, while non-standard mechanics and artificial intelligence capabilities create wow impressions. Overcome banner blindness with Vox.
Hybrid is a global full-stack programmatic advertising ecosystem which offers flexible solutions for agencies and brands. Achieve the best results with our cutting-edge technologies. Hybrid Places. Reach your customers everywhere they are. Hybrid Weather. Display ads depending on weather conditions. Hybrid TV Sync. Synchronize TV and mobile ads. One platform, endless opportunities.
All right, that was Hybrid, our partner, and over to you, Rona.
Okay, cool. Thank you so much. So good afternoon, everyone. So wonderful to see everyone over here. If you go back in the days, right, when we just started shopping on Amazon, for example, we would often see a message that consumers who buy this also buy that. And that was, the early days of personalization, right? And today, if you see the way personalization has evolved, today all of us as consumers, as marketeers, get served messages basis where we are, the context, and everything is powered by AI. So, like, we've really transformed and come a long way, and we have a long way to go also. In fact, by a recent study by McKinsey, it says that around 71% of the consumers expect personalization in a deep way, and in fact 76% are not very happy if they are not served personalized messaging. So that's really the power of personalization, and we've seen AI really turbocharge it, right? So we've come a long way, and I think it's very interesting times. So to uncover that, we've got a very interesting mix of people here, both from an advertiser standpoint as well as a partner ecosystem standpoint. So with that, we'll kick off our topic in terms of using AI to personalize at scale. So let's start with the baseline question, and maybe we can start with you, Prasanna. Essentially, what is the concept of right time, right place, right consumer evolved for you as a marketeer, and what is the role of AI in it? I think it's not.
Hello. Yeah. So the timing of the right time for reaching out to customers has absolutely changed from where it was earlier to where it is now. Earlier, it was a very plain, a very demographic-based targeting, like you have to target at prime times, you have to target when the customer is reading the newspapers. It was a very linear way. That has transformed from where it was to now, where it is more sophisticated, it's more dynamic, it's more personalized. So there has been a complete shift of the right time definition to reach customers. And AI has played a very important role in bringing that transformation. What AI does is that it has made it very personalized, it predicts, it analyzes customers' behavior, and the most important piece is the personalization, which even the McKinsey report you spoke about. So that's what AI is doing in transforming the experience of what right time is all about.
Over to you. Do you want to give context from your part of the world of how AI has enabled personalization?
Sure. I think the Snapchat presentation was bang on that front on the attention span, and we definitely see that across all categories, including life insurance. Let me give you two examples when we talk about how do we personalize using AI. So take a typical case of a home page on a website, and you normally see right up front, within the first scroll, you have the banner, then you have a lead form, and then of course you have all the content. What we've done, experiments at Tata AI in that space is the moment I change the homepage banner from a regular banner saying buy my X life insurance product, it is so good for you, XYZ, I contextualize it to the city the person is coming from. I contextualize it to the sort of maybe an icon or a food item that the person would want to see. So experiments that we've done, for instance, is when somebody came from the city of Mumbai, and we sort of tweaked the messaging to include the vada pav into that. When somebody came from Jaipur, we tweaked the messaging to have the pyaz kachori into that. You will normally not see that, you won't expect a life insurer to show you a pyaz ki kachori or a vada pav, right? But we've clearly seen the moment you do that, the CTR is much higher than a conventional messaging. So yeah, I think it definitely works, and AI makes it that much more possible because it allows you to do this real time. And of course, I can't do this. Person came and then, if I don't show him at that time, it doesn't make sense. So that's the power of AI. And definitely, I see this making a lot of difference in terms of, like Abhishek mentioned, the attention span. We clearly see people then becoming attentive because you never expected to see a vada pav in a life insurance homepage. So
Category. Very interesting. Um, right. So coming to you, Naran, you work across multiple countries, basis our conversation. So can you walk us through the journey of essentially how you see the world of AI panning out in different parts of the world and maybe contrast it versus India?
Okay. Of course, we are not in a B2C business, we are in a B2B business, at least me and Gandharv on this side. And one thing which is absolutely common in B2C business is client knows better than you. Sorry, no offense, but that's true. Client always thinks knows better than you. I think that is where businesses like ours are using AI to the best possible extent. That give the control back to the client, back to the agency of the entire methodology of putting a plan together. So what we have done at Moving Walls is essentially created an AI solution which is a mini LLM in its sense, which combines the data across 4-5 years of plans we have submitted to the client, which was our input to the LLM. We took all that and we put it in an LLM and created an interface which looks very similar to any other LLM in that sense, where a brand would come and actually say that I have $50,000 of budget, this is what I'm looking for, this is what I'm looking for, and the plan is made based on curated inputs from the client, in front of the client, and what used to take 2 days, 24 hours, 48 hours, stats and horrible messages coming that, hey, your plan was supposed to be yesterday, is happening in front of them in 3 minutes with all the customizations. I think that is when the right place and the right consumer aspect comes into our business, where we have actually used all the hard work which our teams have done in the last 4 or 5 years, use that as to build a baseline LLM for us and create an output which is absolutely in sync with the expectations of the customer or the agency. Also, it is adding a lot more value to our human capital which is there, where our teams can do multiple plans at the same time now. And how we are approaching this entire thing is actually redefining the way media planning or per se the sales servicing is happening in that sense, and that is where AI is actually working for us.
Oh, that's so great to hear. And moving on to you, right? You come from the AdTech ecosystem, which would be really at the front and center of all AI and everything it brings, right? So if I have to link to what Naran was saying in terms of the plan making, in terms of signals, have you seen that world evolve? And can you walk us through some interesting work you've done for some of your clients around that?
Sure, why not? So yes, when we talk about AI and everything, what we've seen is that when it was the programmatic or the digital business started, at that point of time, we were just doing a vanilla branding campaigns where, yes, showing the ad to anyone at any place and just having a mass audience or something of that sort. When AI came into place with the tools that we also have in picture, as the message says, that reaching the right person at the right time. So yes, if say for example it's a life insurance and someone's reading an article on life insurance and I capture them there itself and show them the ad and get them, yes, better CDRs, better engagements helps us and do it. Regarding to media planning and all, yes, the AI tools are actually helping us, because earlier it was the vanilla cohorts that we were actually using. You and me would be sitting down and just thinking about the cohorts that needs to be done. Today with AI coming into picture and our tools coming into picture, they're auto-generated and they're the right set of cohorts which have been needed are being used by clients. So giving a very used case scenario that yes, if there's a mattress brand which we are working with, and the messaging is very clear, and they just say the messaging is that did you sleep well? So it's sleep well as a brand, and the kind of audience, the kind of cohorts targeting that are looking into those particular campaigns is something that the clients are getting the results, and they're reaching that audience which has been needed there. So yes, AI plays a big role in helping you to reach the right person with the right messaging as well. I can do a vanilla campaign, a brand campaign, wherein I will reach anyone and everyone. But yes, if I have to reach someone at the right place, is something. This is what we were just discussing about. Say, for example, in festivals in your category, if there's a messaging that I want to give for an air conditioner. So anyone reading onto the air conditioning editorial articles or anything of that sort, and I capture an audience over there. Earlier it was that I'm running the complete vanilla campaign, say on a gadgets website, and a user might see, might not see, it might be a false click, but today it's an engaging click which comes into place because he's already engaged with the article, he's reading about it, and there is somewhere that we capture the user. So that's something what is there.
Great, thank you. Now, bringing it to, in terms of really unlocking value, right? And today I think ROI is so critical for all marketers and advertisers, and I really would love to understand perspectives from Prasanna as well as from Girish, right? If you could walk the team, the audience over here, then how do you go about deciding what are the use cases and which are the ones which are going to be AI powered, right, from your perspective? And how do you go about making it happen? That would be very interesting for us to understand. Like, for example, in your world, which is essentially the retail world, there are multiple categories, right? So how do you go about the whole process of AI personalization and so on?
So, speaking from the retail point of view, and especially from Reliance Digital, from where I come, so the canvas is very wide for us to experiment with different cohorts, different categories, different brands. We as a aggregator of different brands. So one of the use cases that comes on top of my mind is, which can be backed later by ROI also, is very recently for our Durga Pujo campaign that just got over, we had got personalization deployed in such a way that we had a celebrity video being shot, and that celebrity video was later powered by AI to be customized into several videos, which were then layered by performance marketing and then pushed to the customer. So if I'm talking about Kolkata, then a customer in Park Street would probably see the celebrity video with the store details closer to him or her.
Wow.
And then maybe someone near Salt Lake will see the same video with store details which are closer to him or her. So this results, when we saw, definitely we saw that there was a lift in Google about the consideration lift of somewhere around 8 to 10%, and definitely at the sales side also we saw the validation by the revenue numbers taking an uplift. So opportunities are many, and even with hybrid we have done campaigns, just like we were talking about. One of the ads that we saw here was a weather-based ad. So we had run this ad that, the ad gets triggered when the temperature drops temperature goes above 40 degrees in a particular city, then we see our air conditioner ads getting triggered. So yeah, I mean, that's to answer your question.
So if I have to build on that, firstly, I think it's a great innovation, right? And where somebody in Park Street would see a Park Street video and so on. So then how do you, and because a lot of your sales would be offline, I'm assuming, right? So how do you take care of attribution, right, in a scenario like this? And if you could give us some nuggets around it.
So for attribution point of view, it's little difficult, it's little gray area since we are not the only one medium who's into the marketing stream. There are a lot of other mediums also. We have our OH campaigns, we have our BTL campaigns. But definitely at the back of it, we have our models which kind of attribute the uptake with respect to a specific channel. So there's a completely different science around it where models are used to attribute at our end to see what has been the performance of a particular channel. But yeah, definitely there's a significant attribution.
Lift. Great to hear. Moving on to you, Girish, if you could, of course, you gave us some very good examples of Mumbai, Jaipur, and the creative personalization. But talk us through the use cases which are very, very relevant. And from your industry perspective, it could be paid media, it could be CRM, it could be a lot of areas which divide, which sort of ask or demand personalization as a use case. So if you could just walk us through some of the interesting use cases at your end.
Sure, I think the biggest use case would be in the case of the existing consumers when you talk about engagement and cross-sell. Right now, I think we've gone beyond the age of saying that rather than saying dear customer, it will be dear XYZ. That's like maybe in the dinosaur's age. Today what the consumer seeks, and again coming back to Abhishek's point on the attention span, that if I get something in my mailbox, one is open it. Even if I open it, am I going to give it the due attention to go through it, right? So that's what consumers demand today. So when it comes to existing consumers, we look at to what extent can I personalize and to what extent can I derive the ROI in that case, which is, for instance, in our case, one simple measure is to say if 100 of my consumers I am reaching out to with a cross-sell campaign, do I convert 7 of them to buy the second policy? Or do I convert 10 of them to buy the second policy, or do I convert 20 of them? So that's a simple measure of ROI. It comes to personalization, I think it's the gamut of thing. The creative which I show them, is it personalized? So like for instance, if I were to show a Gen Z, it has to be all these interesting things versus to somebody who's say middle-aged, it has to be something different. So that's of course, and again depends on city, depends on the life stage, right? So all those things we personalize because existing consumers, of course, we have a lot of data because the moment you buy a policy, there's so much information that you share with me. So the messaging is one thing, the creative is the other thing which we personalize. The subject line is what AI allows us to personalize. So X person subject line versus Y person subject line has to be different. The send time is optimized again by the AI. So whether in your case, should I send it to you? And we have some interesting examples, very contra. You know, email is a classic thing. Everybody sends email. I've seen multiple times the banking guys send an email at 12 in the night, 1 in the night. I used to find some brands sending an email at 4 o'clock in the morning, and I used to wonder what's wrong with them. I mean, who gets up at 4 o'clock in the morning to read your email? Or who will want before I go to bed at 12 to read your email? But actually when we went to consumers, we found something interesting. Working women, for instance, especially in cities like Mumbai and all, where life is hectic, they get up early, say around 5 o'clock or so, and many of them actually end up reading emails that early in the morning. We used to find situations where, you say best time to send an email is working day. Don't send an email during weekends. Who's going to waste time reading emails? They would rather go and enjoy life. We actually found you send an email on a Friday because people will sit on a Sunday afternoon at 3 o'clock and say, now let me go back 3 days and see what all have I missed. So, that's what AI allows you to do because it gives you that data of who's seeing what at what time, and it can just break all those misconceptions that you have.
I think those were very nuanced insights, so thank you for it. Naren, coming to you, when we were chatting outside and, I would love to understand your perspective on personalization. You made a very interesting point, say in a country like us or Indonesia, for example, 25% of it is digitized in terms of outdoor, but say in a country like Australia, the digitized outdoor space almost touches 75 to 80%, right? So would love to understand from you that how are brands in those part of the world versus our part of the world using personalization from your experience?
See, from a digital standpoint, of course, there are a lot of platforms which are doing a lot of personalization at scale. AI is actually helping them. Out of home, I think the audience should have a little more context about out of home, right? Because out of home is not probably the only medium which is like kept out of the realm for a very long time. And I was giving you some examples of how it is done. Because unlike mobile, unlike even television to a certain extent now, every other medium apart from out of home is a one-to-one medium. It is consumed at a one personal level. Except for out of home. Out of home is a one-to-many medium. And that brings in a multiple nuances, because an impression, when Gandharv will say an impression, when I will say an impression, are two different things. That's the reality. It's not the same impression he and me are talking about, because I will have a dynamic multiplier in between that every ad played on a digital screen outside somewhere has a multiplier effect to it, that how many people have actually seen it at that given point of time. That becomes the number of impressions as against one impression, one ad. Okay, so that nuance needs to be understood. Second, there is a massive investment which is happening in countries like India, Indonesia, Brazil, South Africa, even Middle East for that matter, where a lot of old screens which are iconic areas of out-of-home advertising are getting changed into digital and then subsequently programmatic screens, which are connected, which are internet enabled, which are with a lot of other technologies which are already coming into picture. Brands are also engaging or looking at out of home from a very different perspective now. And I'll go back to Abhishek's session about attention, because attention is literally pushed on you in out of home. Because it is there, it is in your face, you can't miss it. And that is effectively getting brought back into a lot of brand conversations wherein you talk about any category for that matter, whether they are selling a shampoo or whether they are selling an aeroplane, it doesn't matter. Out of home becomes a very integral part of it, that's one. Second important point is out of home as a definition is changing. So lift screens were never, there earlier, but lift screens are also part of out of home. So that's why we call, in our company, we call it moving audiences. Because at the end of the day, audiences are not, yes, they are on their mobile phone, of course, nobody is debating that, but they're still moving across the city. They're going from their house to office to a mall to a shopping complex to an airport to a metro station. All of them are advertising opportunities which can be tied back to an out-of-home solution, programmatically done.
Exactly.
And the last but not the least is interoperability of data. I'm using the same device ID which a hybrid uses. I'm using the same device ID which a retail team uses to identify a consumer. So we are bringing in back the same consumer where he or she is moving around and he can be targeted across the journey planning as we used to talk, WPP, of course. See?
So I think the data interoperability is a very, very interesting nuance. Now moving into the next section of making it happen, right? Because I think we've heard a lot of interesting examples, right? So I'll start with you essentially, Gandharva, and can you tell me that, because in the, firstly, I'm sure a lot of advertisers come to you and say that, hey, we need to personalize, we need to get onto this bandwagon. So what is the ecosystem you've had to transition towards from your company perspective to enable that for advertisers? And if you could walk us through that.
Sure. So when we started hybrid at that in the beginning phases, it was primarily all programmatic that we were doing. It was only the audience targeting that we were looking at. Then yes, came the next world wherein we said that let's get into the contextual meaning. So now in the market what we see is that contextual has been said as keyword targeting, but yes, you go one layer above wherein you do a semantica level of targeting, which helps you to deep dive into the contextual part, read the articles and then measure it and ensure that it reaches the right person. So semantica as a tool helps us to reach there, and that is what we introduced. We came to the market and said that, hey, we've got this tool with us, and any kind of targeting which has been required, what has been required, even attention matrices to be met up. So semantica helps us wherein our tool would actually read your article, the image within the article, and we can actually go ahead and deep dive into the image, wherein our tools can read up to 15,000 objects within the image and see that whether it's the right image to be targeted also or not. So this is where we went ahead and we comprehended that yes, this is what we want, and this is what the market was asking for as well, wherein contextual was coming into place. And yes, we moved on, and now at this point of time, we are one of the biggest contextual players in the market, wherein, and the Semantica, that is something that is our own in-house tool that we work on.
Wow, that's very, very interesting. Moving on to Prasanna and to Girish both, right? I think you spoke about some time back about some very interesting use cases. But if you could walk the audience through, then what are the changes you've made at your end, from your company lens, from a technology standpoint, right? Have you invested in MarTech ecosystems? What happens about the creative optimization? Because do you in-house versus do you work with agencies like ours, etc.? Because I think with AI, even the speed and the agility becomes very important. So if you could talk to us from a tech and a creative standpoint and how that would have changed your world. Yeah.
So, Ronak, so in that case, probably I'll talk about two things. First is that for a retail business like ours, where we have nationwide stores present, so we work with partners who are helping streamline the Google My Business pages for our stores. So each of the store of ours has a Google My Business page. And that page is like a complete plethora of information. It has reviews, it has ratings, it has feedbacks, it has product information, and so on and so forth things. So one of the AI things that we have done is that we have worked with partners who deploy AI on these pages and help us understand what is the customer's sentiment looking like. We analyze calls and we try to understand from the calls on what has been the trend like. For example, if there's a season, when there's a summer season, we always know that the AC sale is going to go up. So is that really happening on ground or not? If it's an AC sale, then what is the brand that the customer is trying to be interested about? Is it bringing more conversation on the product inquiry, or is it more service inquiry? So streamlining our Google business pages with a partner who is able to give us AI-led powered solution to it is first thing that we are doing, because that's very critical for our retail business. Secondly, about the creative solutions, we work with video partners who leverage AI to do customization, and that links back to the first example that I said that we did,
Sure.
customization with Celebrity. And thirdly, we work very jointly with Google and Meta on deploying their AI solutions. So new innovations, new solutions that they develop, we are very quick on our feet to quickly adapt that and put it into place. So yeah, a few things from
Very
our side.
interesting.
Yeah.
Girish, from your part, from a tech and a creative standpoint?
Yeah, so I think what we've done is, early on we realized the power of AI and Gen AI, and we said, in the moment the day ChatGPT was born, 30th of November 2022, is honestly when we started exploring it, and some very funny moments that when we asked ChatGPT for an input, and no offense to the agencies here, the headline and the copy which I get, and then I ask my agency, and I guess like, oh, why is it looking so similar? So maybe we are sort of.
I almost thought you will say creativity died on that day.
But yeah, on the serious note, I think what we've basically done in terms of streamlining is made sure that we are not looking at each piece in isolation. Honestly, if you see the communication funnel, there are 4 blocks. There is the campaign planning, where you say, okay, what is it that I need to do, what do I need to convey? Second is your targeting, whom am I speaking to, what is the sort of person is that entity, whom I'm going to talk to. Then comes the creative development, right? And finally you have the deployment, right? That's a simple sort of a way a communication funnel flows. Earlier our approach was in terms of, I think AI, Gen AI can maybe just work on targeting, and then of course, the campaign planning has to be done by humans, because what will an AI do and things like that. I think quickly we understood that if you really want things to move from X to Y, you really want to move the needle, you can't have this half in, half out approach. You need to have, you need to use technology to make sure all the 4 parts of the funnel are powered by AI, And I think that's where we're now seeing the magic. So that's been a big learning for us.
Naren,
Can I just
Of
add?
course,
I mean,
of
I'll
course.
take your question, but I think foundationally things are changing. One of the important aspects is most of the tools we all are born, in the era of Google, and we've all been adapted to Meta, Google. All the technologies we're using are all led by answers. That you ask something and you get something back. That is the foundational understanding of all of us in this room, right? I think that is where AI is going to change our lives. Because I truly believe that this age is not going to be about answers. Everybody has answers. Ask ChatGPT otherwise, right? But it is about the right questions. Do you know what to ask ChatGPT? I think that is where the foundational shift will happen in using AI for anything. Whether it is in our businesses, whether it is my daughter's education, or whatever anybody is doing in this room, foundationally it has to move from answers to questions. So it's not about the right answers anymore. It's all about the right questions. Do you know what question to ask? You can use any GPT, any LLM in the world. But if you don't know what right prompt to ask to, then you will get garbage. Because you put in garbage, you will get garbage back.
Sure.
And these kind of copy mistakes will keep happening.
Yeah.
I guess we have Gen AI itself is giving you a solution for that. So today you ask a chat GPT, what is the question I should be asking you? And it will tell you what question you're supposed to ask.
That is a scary thing. That is over-reliance on what happening.
So now moving on to our next question is overcoming hurdles, right? Because in the world of AI, there could be a lot of questions around ethics, compliance, especially for sensitive industries and across the entire ecosystem and just not the client ecosystem. So starting with you, if you could tell us what is it that you take care of from a compliance perspective from that world for us?
In our advertising space, the most important thing that needs to be taken care is brand safety. So the tools that we have, they need to be brand safe, compliant, and any kind of advertising that we do, any kind of campaigns that we run for any of the brands, we cannot be on a non-brand safe environment. So we have our own internal tools wherein we ensure that 99% brand safety is being met and ensure that the ad is shown at the positive articles, and because there's a positive tonality which needs to be met. So that is the most important thing that I would say.
Yeah. Quickly.
Okay. I think one of the most important thing is we in our company did was AI policy. I don't know how many of organizations have AI policy. We have a published AI policy of what are the do's and what are the don'ts. Suddenly we figured out all the client information is just getting uploaded into ChatGPT because an intern wanted to do a presentation quickly. That's the reality today. But then we can't be having all this sensitive data go back to open LLMs. So we created our own LLM, which is a closed LLM, which is proprietary and which is managed by us in our own server spaces. So we have a clear-cut AI policy of what are do's and what are don'ts to make sure that the entire organization to the last level, from the CEO to the last level, are aware of what can be done and what can't be done. Of course, there are definite no-nos about client information, brand safety, campaign information, publisher, because we work with both sides, both the publishers and the advertisers. So we have a lot of information coming from the publisher side, which is absolutely sacrosanct. So all of this cannot go onto an AI generally just because somebody wants to cut a corner. So
yeah, I think for you, very, very sensitive from an insurance industry standpoint. So
Yeah, but actually contrary to the perception that, we would have done a lot, honestly, we didn't do nothing. We actually did nothing because given the fact we are a life insurer, we are super regulated, everybody else was doing everything for me. So I have my compliance team who told me, okay, these are your guidelines. I had an InfoSec team who told me, okay, this is what you need to do. Every vendor will be scrutinized and things like that. I was only at the receiving end. So it was, I would say, very easy for us.
So it's been easy for you. And for you?
So I think one of the hurdles was the setup time for developing these AI solutions. Because we work on large data models, offline or online. So integrating that with AI modules takes a lot of setup time. So unless you're doing campaigns at a scale level, at a big duration, the investment in the setup should be worthy of it. So I think we have seen that some challenges in setting it up are hurdles. in
I
it.
think I just want to make a point there about when you say what is the difficult part, and those who have gone through the journey will sort of resonate with this. I don't think the difficult part is what tech you choose, or have you got the flow in your mind clearly, and are the integrations and all in place. I think the most difficult part, and I can relate to this because I saw this happening in front of my eyes, when we said let's explore Gen AI, you had, and the good part was 2 years back, most of these tools were really free and they really gave you the right stuff for, at the free cost or the zero cost. Today, everything is like, unless you buy the ultra version, you don't really get to see the impact. Uh, and this, we talk about Gen Zs who are tech native, who want to explore these things. But the moment it came to the job, and I asked my Gen Z audience, my Gen Z employees, my team members, explore this. This is what it can do for us. Things will be faster. Creative will come out easier. I actually saw a resistance. I really saw Gen Zs not wanting to explore, because at the back of the mind, it was like, if I really start doing this, then either he will load me with more work, because he will say, boss, 4 घंटे में काम कर दिया, अब बाकी क्या करोगे? Or it will be like, there are two of us here, so if one of us can do the job, what happens to the other one? So I think that's the biggest challenge that we need to look
Sure.
at.
I think time's up. So one last minute, parting thoughts now, starting with you, of course. If you look 2 to 3 years ahead, what is that one trend or one capability for AI and personalization you're most excited about? Quickly.
I think so. If AI can help bridge the gap between online and offline for us as retailers, because on one side we put our ads out to customers for them to see, and on the other side we see people coming to our stores. So if AI can bridge the gap on who saw the ad and who came back to the store, so that is one place of area of improvement.
Sure. Girish, quickly.
I would say it's something which I'm excited about, and at the same time I'm really worried about. And I don't know if this will happen in 2-3 years or it will take 5-6 years. But the moment you talk about AI, Gen AI moving from a suggestion-based platform, right now it is just suggesting, right? You ask a question, it gives you an answer and say, now you decide, want to use it or not. To a point where it starts doing your work. And that is something which is bound to happen with agentic AI, with AGI especially coming through. I think that is the spectrum which is absolutely a gray area. You could reap impact in multiple X, but at the same time the downside could be significant in terms of really seeing the fear that we all talk about today, that it could lead to lesser jobs and people becoming redundant to technology. That could actually happen.
Sure. Yeah.
I think we are really scratching the surface right now as far as AI is concerned. Most of the automation just get tagged as AI. It's just automation using a better server, using a better framework. Agentic AI work is happening, but it's still not percolated to every organization at a base level, according to me. I think 2-3 years we'll see a lot more agentic executions wherein there's a real AI thought process which is actually doing a lot more than what it is doing right now. Having said that, we also need to make sure that we train the models perfectly. We understand what is the use case, where the human intervention will be. Are we asking the right questions? And then we see how it actually unfolds the entire narrative.
Last thoughts from you?
So yes, AI is there, but human intervention is most important. And what we see is that a lot of tools which have been worked in the market, brand safety is still a concern. So we see that another 2 to 3 years, the evolvement should happen, and there should be much more brand safe, which needs to be there, because we've been looking at a lot of ads which have been coming and non-brand safe ads. So that's something which needs to be worked upon and should be.
And one important point is on the hiring part of it, right? People will get redundant. It's the same theory which happened when computers were introduced into the government of India. A lot of people thought that if computer is there, I lose my job. But no, more trained people got the jobs. That's exactly what's going to happen. Jobs are not going to go down, but relevant jobs are going to go down.
So on that note, it was the panel for us. I think I've learned so much in the last 30, 40 minutes from each one of you. Thank you so much. And if the audience has any questions for any of our panelists, you can go ahead. But it was lovely knowing so much from each of your world.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions? We'll take them offline if anybody has any questions. But thank you. A round of applause for this panel, everybody.